All right, welcome to the Modern Mompreneur podcast. I am your host, Day Smith, owner and founder of Simplicity by Day. And I'm so excited to be here today because I have a very special guest, somebody that I truly admire in the Houston area. A couple years ago, maybe not even a couple, maybe a year ago, I
Yeah.
stumbled upon one year. I was visiting She Space, my office space, and they happened to have this cool launch. And I sat next to this girl who was just bubbly and friendly and gorgeous. And I was like, who is this woman? And we started talking, and she was actually building a community and really educating women on financial literacy at the time. And she's done a whole lot since then. But we immediately clicked, and she's the type of person who is a true connector. She's like, I got to get you here and there. I want to show you who, this person, introduce you to this person. And I was like, she's my kind of people because she's really trying to bring women together and help us all win, help us all grow. And so I know I had to get me a little bit more of that. And so I definitely want to stay in touch. And so today we have Tiara with us. She is the owner and founder of She Can Work, among other things. I'm going to let her introduce herself and tell about all the many things that she does and who she is in this world. Welcome.
Thank you. The all of the things that you just said, I remember. But the thing I remember, y'all, before I introduce myself, is when Day and I went for it was like coffee or breakfast or whatever. But when she sat down,
Yes,
we literally talked like we've been knowing each other for years. We talked for
that
so
is
long,
true.
like we've been knowing each other for years. I love that. And then after that, I had her book. She had given me a book that's kind of like an anthology. I had it sitting on my desk for a long time. And it was sitting and sitting and sitting. And then I had a friend who came over who actually was like, "What is this?" And so I gifted it to her. Um, and she just talked about how great it was. And like, "Girl, did you read it?" I was like, "I didn't. I gifted it to you." And then she gave it back to me. And I read it since, but I just adore Day. So thank you so much for that introduction because I adore you and thought all of those same things about you. Uh,
That feeling is mutual. Yes.
so, like she said, I'm Tiara Abu, the CEO and founder of She Can Work. We're a business development company on a mission to increase the number of successful Black women owned businesses specifically. I am very concerned with the number of times I hear Black women say they can't get a loan or can't get into an accelerator or can't get a credit card for their business, and how many times we believe that that is because we are Black. And while I know racism is real and I know bias is real, sometimes it's really because we just don't have our stuff together. Sometimes we don't have a business plan, financial statements, and a marketing strategy. And so we're asking people for money without really being able to tell them where their investment is going. And so I was like, Black women are brilliant. We are starting businesses every single day that with amazing ideas and extremely and businesses that are actually revenue generating. But until we get our stuff together and solid, we won't be able to grow and scale. So that's what I'm on a mission to do. And like they said, through that, we do events, workshops, and programs. But I also have just made it my business to connect other business women together, and just other women in general. I'm connecting all the time because I believe human connection is like what God put us on the earth to do. And then my second company is Lead with People, where I do leadership and performance coaching. And that is my passion. It is what I've been doing for I don't even know how many years at this point. But I really do love coaching junior and senior executive women to get promotions, to take better care of themselves, to get more money, to get to that next level of their career or to do career transitions. Um, and with that, I do a lot of one-to-one coaching, and we have a program. But right now, y'all, where I spend all of my energy is at She Can Work and trying to make sure that we have more successful Black women-owned businesses. So thank you again, Dave, for having me.
Of course, of course. And I love the work that you're doing and how much you've grown. She Can Work in the amount of time when you launch. I feel like when I spoke on your panel last December, was She Can Work, it was just starting out, right?
So
Pretty much.
we started January of 2021, but when you were on that
Okay.
panel, that was I mean, we've just taken off since probably January when January 2020. I'm sorry,
Yes.
we started January of 2022. when you were on that panel right after that in January of 2023, I have not slowed down. It has
I
been.
know. Yeah, she's taking it across the country, y'all. She's doing tours, which is amazing because um you're able to connect with women, and across the country, and she's able to really pour into people, not just locally in Houston, but she's everywhere, literally. And so it's just I'm just so impressed with how quickly y'all have grown, and the level of the content and the quality of your workshops. I mean, every single time I see one come on through my email, I'm like, "Oh, can I go? Can I go? Oh, let me see, can I go?" Because it's everything you need. It's the financial, it's the marketing, PR, it's the pricing. We talked about that. That was our first conversation about
Right.
pricing, but just all the things that you really, really need to know. I saw something about Google Analytics and how you partner with Google and partner with other financial institutions to bring these resources that we wouldn't otherwise have. Everything that I've seen you do is done in excellence. It's always like, and then let me tell y'all, when her events, everybody be just fly, okay? Like all the colors, fashionistas everywhere. I'm like, okay, I'm going to a chic and wear. Let me get my outfit together because it's a whole thing. And so I love it. I love it. But that's a whole nother story. So she can work this phenomenal business development platform, lead with people, your one-on-one consulting. Let's talk more about how you got started in this. Like what was the passion that you had to say, I'm going to do this and this is what I'm going to focus on? Where'd that come from?
Yep. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 13. I started my first business in the basement of my house. One of my mom's friends put me up a mirror. I got an old desk. I bought all of these supplies and new curling irons, y'all, and I was a cosmetologist in my basement with no license. But I was really
Lord
talented.
Jesus.
No, I was really talented at the time, especially like in the 90s, y'all. We had hairstyles that were art. So I learned a lot of hairstyles like pin curls and French rolls and freezes. I don't know if I know about a freeze, but maybe it takes a lot of gel. So at 13, I started just doing hair and learned that you can take a passion and turn it into a profitable like venture. And so at that time, like women were actually trusting me to do their hair when I was 13 years old in my basement in Kansas City. And I never called myself an entrepreneur, but I've always figured out a way to take one of my talents and monetize it. I've always been that way. I've always been a hard worker. One year I had 11 W-2s, y'all. So not even in entrepreneurship, it doesn't really matter. I like to work. Um, and I'm a person who finds joy in having an impact on others. And so for me, I've been an educator for the last 20 years. I come from education, being a teacher, assistant principal, principal. I've founded a school. I have led schools and done leadership development across schools and built new schools for a district. And in about like 2020, I started really thinking about more and more about what I can do outside of education, and how I could give back to the world in a way that like still use my talents and was still just as meaningful as education, but wasn't in a classroom. I just felt like there was some other things out there. So for me, I started a blog and kind of went from there. I don't tell this part of the story often. I was just like, I don't know, I'm just gonna put some stuff out. It was not that good of a blog.
Ooh,
Uh,
growing pains.
it just wasn't that good. But I started to decide, okay, well, what do I want to do with this? And so I just took the blog, and like if you know me and when you get to know me, I'm a person who researches and then I'm okay with a pivot. So I just kept refining, and I won't tell y'all every step of the way, but got to the point where the short story is I was coaching. I started my coaching company in 2018. In 2020, I was coaching day, and women kept coming to coaching sessions very worried about their finances. It was right when the pandemic was before we knew it was a pandemic. Um, and I was like, why are y'all so worried? And none of my male clients were. My husband wasn't worried about his money. And I was like, what is up with women and money? So I started doing research and learned crazy things like women couldn't get bank accounts until the 60s or lines of credit without a male cosigner until the 70s. And I was like, okay, well that's the problem here. Like we're worried about it because we haven't had enough experience with it. We haven't had enough education, access to the conversations, access to the services, etc. So how do we get women more of that? We just literally teach it to them that it exists. So we started off as a financial education company, and then I became obsessed. Uh, um, the other like quick part of it is we got to where we are now with She Can Work because women weren't taking the classes that we were offering. They were purchasing them, and they were purchasing full annual memberships, but still not logging in. So I called all of them and was like, what's the problem? They really needed more direction and more coaching. And I didn't want to become a financial coach. So I tell entrepreneurs this: don't be afraid to pivot, but pivot with research. Like pivot by doing your homework. So I started doing my homework, like what's out there? What's the problem that I could solve? And that's when I came across Black woman after Black woman said, I can't get capital. And I can't grow my business for X reason. And then I learned, okay, we're not growing our businesses because we don't have business plans. And so I was like, I could solve that problem. I know how to write a business plan. I can build a network of people that can teach you how to do every component of your business foundation. I'll do that. So I decided to niche us down and pivot. So that's how I got here.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I also say is how I stay here and stay focused on this is all of y'all are moms, so you'll get this. My kids are counting on me. I'm a first generation everything. And so for me, I'm one of those people who doesn't, I stopped saying, I'm breaking generational curses. People kept saying that to me, and I'm like, I don't want that. I don't want the burden of breaking nobody's curse that I didn't have nothing to do with. I would prefer to build something. So I'm building a legacy for my kids. I'm building generational wealth for my kids. I'm trying to show my sons that there's a way to exist on this earth that doesn't have to kill you and you can still be productive and happy. So I stay focused because they need me to.
Yes, I love that. I love that. You're not breaking curses, you're building. Um, and that's something that I picked up really early, especially from you and other moms too. The fact that you're building a legacy and like teaching your children something very unique as an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
Yes, this world is, I mean, this lifestyle of a mompreneur is crazy because you're like having a business like having another child, really. You're caring
Mhm.
for, you're nurturing it, all the things. And your kids, sometimes you may feel like you're giving just as much to this business as you would to your children, right? So it's
Mhm.
like guilt or, misappropriated feelings. I won't say mom guilt. We got to get rid of
Mhm.
that. But I
Mhm.
will say that one thing I admire about you and other women who do the same is what you teach your kids, and you give them that entrepreneurial spirit. Um, because they see you work, and you share with me that you take your kids with you. They're like in your business. They see mom out here hustling, traveling, helping people. And that is like such a beautiful experience for your children. I've had a
Mhm.
little bit of that with my son, but your kids know, and they have their own desires to be entrepreneurs, you told me. So
Yep.
let's talk about your experience as a mompreneur, and how do you balance that, manage that, and anything that you want to share in that space.
Yeah. So I'm in a different place in my life. I've been actually at the launch of our cohort in our intention setting meeting. I told them one of my intentions is just to be like a really incredible mom in a new way. I already felt like I was a good mom. And I never
And
let
is.
anybody assign mom guilt to me or like,
Mhm.
I just don't believe in it. I think we all are doing the best we possibly can. And when we know better, we do better. So I was in a place where I felt like I had gotten really good at kind of harmonizing my life. Like everything is kind of buzzing, everything is working together. I was letting go of like all the things that I thought my kids needed, and really I tapped into what they really needed by asking them what they really needed of me. And then being that instead of kind of making up the role of mom, I think that freed me a few years ago. When quick story about that is my son, there was a time where I was traveling a lot in my full-time job, and I wasn't there for bedtime, and we had had bedtime routine since they were babies. And I was like, I really hate, and I also sing a song to them. And I sing, it's called the Good Night Song. Their daddy doesn't know it. It's just between us. But there was a time I was talking to him and I was like, I really hate that I can't be there for bedtime and we don't get to read together. And this is my youngest. My youngest is 11, but at the time, maybe he was like 9, 8 or 9. And he said, I like when daddy reads stories. And I was like, yeah, but I really wish I was there. And he was like, I'm okay. He told
You
me,
all right, Ma?
he told me, I really like when you lay in the bed with me when you're at home. And I forgot that I even did that part. I just was
Mhm.
really obsessed on the like story I told and the song that we sang and just kind of all of it, the little goodnight kiss, the look in his eyes. But what he cherished was just me laying there next to him. And he didn't even care that I wasn't there every night. So a few years ago, I kind of freed myself of like making up what a mom looks like. And I really tapped into what and paid attention to what resonated with my kids, whether they verbalized it or I could just tell. Um, Now though, like I'm in my like I want to show up for everything era. So I tell people like my new thing is be like the very best that I possibly can. That's my new thing. And go to everything. So I'm now building my business around my children instead of kind of figuring out my children so my business can run. Which means I go to all the soccer games. It means like right now, before I got on this call, I was looking up a camp for my son. He plays competitive soccer. He's really good. And there's opportunities for him to play in different cities. And so I was looking it up on one of those in one of those camps, I actually have an event to host in Dallas. And so I thought to myself, well, no, I'm sorry. The camp is in Dallas. I have an event to host in Houston. And so I said, like before, I would be like, well, he can't go, or who can take him? But instead, I thought to myself, well, who can cover for me? Like, who can do the intro of the speaker for me in Houston? And Dave, to answer your question, like, that's what I'm doing now. I no longer
Yeah.
say, well, I have this to do at work or this to do in my business. How can I show up for my kids? I say, well, my kids need this and like what can I adjust over here so I can make it happen? Because otherwise I'm just perpetuating
Yes.
the stuff from full-time jobs I've
Yes.
before. I ain't doing that. It's my company.
That's
So
so true. You're like, my kids need me. Who could take over here? And a lot of
yeah,
times we flip that. Yeah. Yeah. I
we
love
flip
it.
it for no reason. Like I do intros
Because we
and
think we have to. We think
right.
we have to,
Try-
but you don't. You're like retraining your mind. Yeah.
And it's like,
So
you don't
true.
have to do
So
that,
true.
especially as an entrepreneur. If you're in a full-time job, I think it's a little bit different. And I think even in some entrepreneurial journeys, like kind of where you are at the time, what you
Yeah.
need to accomplish, what kind of industry you're in, all of that matters. But for me, I
Yeah.
think that mindset shift has been really helpful to me.
Love it. And I'm sure that because you work with a lot of women, a lot of moms, they probably appreciate seeing that shift because that gives them permission to now
Mhm.
prioritize their family. I remember when I had been working with a coach and I shifted to another coach and she has a husband and a younger son about the same age as mine, and she's like, I'm getting off at 3, or the whatever's ending at 3, I'm working from 10 to 3 because I have to drop him off, pick him up. And I was
Mhm.
like, that's freeing. You don't have to be the 24-hour hustle,
Yeah.
24/7 hustle entrepreneur just because that's how other people do it. Their
Mhm.
lifestyle is not like your lifestyle. So I'm like, I'm not taking any meetings at this time, and and whenever she felt, we get fatigued or like just mentally fatigued or we need a break. She's very vocal about, I'm working horizontally today, or
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
like we gonna do it differently, because that's what my body needs. And I was like, man, I love that. And she was super successful. It didn't hinder her success at all, to be honest about what she needed and how she needed to do it differently as a mom
Mhm.
of young kids. And so that's what we have to learn. It's gonna look different. It's gonna look different for you. And you're right, depending on your industry and what your business requires or your corporate job requires would dictate some of that. But there's some room for you to be vocal and be honest
Mhm.
about what your needs are. So I love that you're sharing that. Wonderful. Um, my question was gonna be adjustments or how you've made adjustments to accommodate, but you kinda touched on that about, just doing things differently. So, what were some challenges or aha moments in building and growing as fast as you did with your business? Even when it comes to working your team even, what were some things
Mhm.
with that as far as, growing it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we're experiencing right now is we have more business, which means we have more things to do than we have people. And like a real
Mm,
challenge is when you're like at this moment where you've grown faster, you've grown faster than your people. In order to continue to generate revenue, you need the people to do the things. So it is
yeah.
a that has been the biggest challenge for us is we've grown really fast. But every opportunity to grow, like that very beginning of our growth phase, or when we go into a new city, that's not revenue generation. There's no revenue generation there. And so, in order to go to that city, though, you got to have people to like do the things. So, I think that's the biggest challenge I'm facing right now. Um, it's not a bad problem to have. Like I was talking to a mentor of mine, and she was like, "Are you complaining, or are you just saying this out loud?" And I was like, "I'm just saying it out loud. It's a problem that I'm working through because I'm not complaining." And I'm also a person who understands long term success, which is why I think we've grown fast, this fast because I've been playing the long game the whole time. Meaning, if today, just because it would benefit me today, if it didn't align to that long term plan, I was like, "We're not doing that." And people were like, "But you need to do this so you can make some money." And I was like, "Nope, my money is going to come if I do these things." And so I think that's one of the biggest challenges is growing too fast and not having the people to kind of execute um, as easy or efficiently as I would like. I think another challenge has been just trying to figure out. It means like now I have to figure out my schedule in a different way. So a big challenge for us is now I travel, and so traveling is not the issue, but sometimes in multiple weeks I have to be in multiple places. And we've planned 2024 already. And in 2024, we did it with sticky notes. So me and my team were like putting all the sticky notes on the wall, like everything. We have all the months, and we're putting every program or everything that's happening in those months. And once we kind of sat back from it, it was like, what are we doing? Why are we doing all of that?
All these sticky notes.
Why are we doing this? But what it made me do, and I will share this with all mompreneurs, it made me, because I have the problem with people, I have a lot that I need to accomplish. It made me step back and say, Tiara, how are you? Partnerships has been a primary part of what you've done. How do you partner in an even better or different way? And so, literally now, like, I went to a couple of people that I've worked with and who have we've done really good work together. And I said, look, I'm expanding. And I went to one person who is phenomenal at doing networking events. She can bring a group of people, shout out to Girl Boss Suites.
Ooh.
She can bring a group of people
Yes, I was
together.
thinking of her. I saw her on your yes, Girl Boss
Shout out
Suites.
to
Yes.
Tiara at Girl Boss Suites. But she's really good at bringing together a group. She has my audience. Um, in fact, we did
Mm,
an event together, and two people in my current cohort are from an event that she and I did together. And so I was like, if I'm looking at all these sticky notes and at least eight of them, I think, were networking events, I was like, well, how can I partner so that I can find somebody who's really good at that and I can now like free up some of what I have to do. And so I had a conversation with her
yes.
and it just was perfect because the part that we have mastered and feel like we're the best at as she can work, she was like, that's what I need. So that's
Mm,
I think the like lesson that I'll share is, you have I tell this to people all the time, you have a team all around you. And when you can't hire a team, there are people like Day who get on a call with you, like we did, and say, "Look, how can we partner?" And in exchange, like I'm going to help her. I'm helping Day's business. Day is helping my business, and Day is also freeing up time for me. So now I don't facilitate something or have to like find someone. She's going to do that for me. So
yeah.
I think the challenge of people is being resolved because I'm trying to be better at partnerships, and I think the prompt for that was my when I'm looking at all the things I want to accomplish. I can't do all of those things without killing myself. And I no longer kill myself. I can just ask for help and form partnerships that'll get me where I want to go.
That's a word. You have a team all around you, and that's something for mompreneurs. A lot of us are driven go-getters. Type A, I'm about to make it happen, which is great, but you have to have people around you, whether they're your employees, they're your contacts, your partners. Tiara and I don't work together in a formal way, but we partner together like we do. And so I want to help her. She wants to help me. And you will find that in your community, wherever you are, in whatever industry you're in. And if you give, it'll come back to you. You have to be willing to share and compromise and give to others. And I think that the universe, God, whatever you believe in, will give it back to you. So I love that you said that. Great.
Yeah. I think
Well,
what can
now we're going to oh, go ahead.
I was going to share one other
Go
thing. You
ahead.
also have a team in the people that are not even entrepreneurs. So I tell, especially mompreneurs, this. My
Mm,
kids do things. So Micah was I wanted to grow my LinkedIn schedule, my 11-year-old. I wanted to grow my LinkedIn followers for my business account. So he needed to make some extra money. He was trying to build a PC at the time. I paid him $20 a week to make sure he sent out all 250 of those invites you get on LinkedIn. So I paid him to do that. So he did that. I have a sister who has businesses herself and a full-time job. But when I need her, if I'm like, I need somebody to like sit at the table at this event, we plan it out in advance. But she definitely does that for me. And I just think sometimes as mompreneurs, because we're so used to being everything to everybody, we feel like we have to be everything to everything in our businesses. But they're your family, there are people around you, your friends, they have talents. When you learn to tap into those talents, sometimes you don't even have to monetize the pay, but you can definitely make the ask and they will show up for you. And sometimes you can just say, I need this once a month for 15 minutes. If it's their like zone of genius, baby, they're going to show up for 15 minutes once a month or once a week or whatever. You're just not asking. So please ask y'all for the help you need. It's all around you.
absolutely. That family piece. And they want to help you. I've
Mhm.
had my son I'm like, put these business cards in this folder. Boom. He ain't got no problem with it. He wants to do it.
Mhm.
And I think that reaching out to your family, your sisters, your loved ones, they will contribute any way they can. So absolutely. Okay, well, now we're going to transition to my favorite part of the podcast, and that's the lightning round. I'm going to just ask you questions, and the
Mhm.
first thing that comes to your head, you're going to answer. You don't even have to give the explanation, just spit them out. All
Okay.
right. 3 words to describe you. Okay, ready? I jumped in. 3 words that describe you today.
Centered, intentional, happy.
Absolutely. What would you tell your 18-year-old self today?
Girl, sit down.
Okay, sit down somewhere.
Doing too much. I was doing too much.
I love it. What does it mean to be a modern mompreneur?
It means being okay with who you are and how you want to be, not what was told to you, taught to you, or like put in books and on movies. Be who you need to be and be who you are.
Yes, love it. What do you love about being a mom?
I love the look in my kids' eyes that is just so unconditional. They look at you and it's just so unconditional. It's like a love that I don't even from my husband. It's so pure and so real. And I love that affirmation of my own life in another person. Um, that's what I love the most.
Love it, love it. What are you what are you reading, watching, or listening to?
I read several books at a time. Right now, I am obsessed. I'm obsessed with 212 by Sam Parker. I've been like gifting that to people. I'm also reading You Are Enough by Jacqueline. Oh, I can't remember Jacqueline's name, y'all, but it's called You Are Enough. Um, and I have Viola Davis's book sitting on my nightstand, like, Tiara, you're going to read that. Somebody purchased it for me. So I'm going to read it at some point.
Yes, it will happen. Um, and then last question, what is bringing you joy right now?
Building this business is bringing me joy. The building the business the way I want to build the business and doing it the way that um like God has given me a vision to do, it is bringing me a ton of joy.
Oh, you're in the right space. Love it. Well, thank you for the lightning round, letting us get another glimpse of who you are and how you live and how you show up in the world. Um, how can people connect with you?
I know you're gonna put everything in the show notes. I would say connect with us at www.shecanwork.org. I just tell people go there and join our email list. It's how you learn about our events. It's how you learn about everything we have going on. We have some social media you can see in the show notes, but I think going there, join our email list. We don't send like a lot. We mostly just send what we have going on. So go there.
Love it. Yes, the email list is phenomenal because there's resources in there, like tons of really good resources. I forwarded along as well. Um, so what services are you currently offering or how can people work with you?
hmm right now, I'm really focused. I'm not taking any one-to-one clients in my coaching practice. Right now, I'm full. Um, but if you are looking for a coach, always follow me on LinkedIn, and I do respond to my DMs there for coaching requests for leadership and performance coaching. And then also, we do cohorts in our program. And so we have cohorts that help you. It's a year long. It helps you establish all the structures, foundational structures of your business, and helps you to build systems and processes in your business. So if you're someone who is like either a new or experienced entrepreneur who's like, I really do need to get like my business plan, financials, my marketing strategy, sales strategy, pricing model, people, like get that settled before I either grow or before I go, then you should go to shecanwork.org and see if we have a cohort coming to your city. Currently, maybe at the recording or the publishing of this podcast, we will have a cohort launching in Dallas. But then in 2024, we'll be in Houston, Dallas, Atlanta, DC, Tulsa, Oklahoma, and we'll start nurturing Chicago.
Nice. So the cohorts, all the cities, check her out. But again, follow, go to She Can Work, get on the newsletter so you can keep up with all that she has going on, or y'all have going on. It's definitely worth it. So, well, I want to
Yeah,
thank you, Tiara, for being on the Modern Mompreneur podcast. You are, in essence, all of that, a modern mompreneur,
thank you.
balancing all the businesses. You've been doing this since you was 13 in the basement, okay? And you ain't never stopped. And now you're raising a generation of entrepreneurs with your sons.
Mhm.
And I am just excited to know you, grateful to know you, and excited about our partnership and who will continue to bring into our universe to get what they need from us and our zone of genius, and just inspire other moms to just go for it and build it the way they need to. So thank you for joining us. Anything you want to say to close out?
Moms are awesome. I just want to say that if nobody told you today, girl, you are amazing. You do phenomenal things that nobody will ever even know the number of things that you do as a mother. But from mother to mother, know that I appreciate you. Even without my eyes, I can see you. And you are important. And know that. Love up on those kids because they are your affirmation in this world that you should be here. And don't let anybody tell you no different.
Amen. I love it. Thank you. Well, thank you for listening to the Modern Mompreneur podcast with Tiara Abu in Houston and everywhere in your local city. As she said, feel free to subscribe, like, and share this episode if you enjoyed it. And check out all that Tiara and her team has going on in the show notes. And I appreciate you guys for listening. Until next time, y'all take care. Bye.